Very good, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Red Hook Town Board meeting of Tuesday, February 10th. Would you kindly join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. And if you'd be kind enough to pan over to the big screen, I can show the folks who are watching from home what we'll be discussing tonight. Hopefully a brief meeting this evening as opposed to the last couple we've had. We have, as always, first meeting of the month, supervisor's report, clerk's report. We have a continuation of a public hearing from, I think, October on a community preservation fund project with our land trust partner in this project, Winnicke Land Trust, and Bob Davis is here from Winnicke to once again be available to make presentations. And we have announcements, maybe one or two, some public comments. We will be discussing the Winnicke project tonight. We have as the second item on the agenda something that we did previously, which is approve a resolution requesting an extension to the Community Preservation Fund. Now that we have signed bills up in Albany, then we are going to pass this and forward it along to them. We have only really a first draft of a water agreement with BARD, a continuation based upon perhaps a contribution level towards some rehab of the tank. We're not going to take any action or even discuss, I think, tonight unless others feel differently, because it's just a first draft. We're looking for input from the water board and obviously from all of you here on the board as well. For reorg tonight, we're hoping maybe we could finish reappointing all of the board and committee chairs so that we can finally send out our communication to the community about where the vacancies are, and they can send in a letter of interest and we can connect them with the chairs and they can discuss how the committees and boards work and whether or not it's a good fit. And then correspondence, we just have one piece of correspondence, and it's related to, you heard me, I think at the last meeting or the one before, talk about the Champlain Express. It's a power line that's running underneath the Hudson River, 339 miles, I believe it is, all the way from Quebec down to New York City. Because it's within our waterways, we do receive some tax revenues, and we've been approached by representatives of Champlain to see if we would be interested in a pilot agreement. We did receive a tentative, perhaps partial assessment, trying to get more information from New York State on what the assessment is on the books, so that we can compare what's being offered to what we might otherwise expect. And those are the items that we'll be discussing tonight. So, with that being said, we're almost 7:35. Let's see, why don't we quickly see if we can do the supervisor's report and the clerk's report. I'll scan down. So for the supervisor's report, as a reminder, it's a snapshot of the financial picture for the municipality at any given moment. This is for the period ending January 31st, 2026. We started with an opening balance of $10,828,000 and change, receipts of $1.658 million, disbursements of $2.943, with an ending balance of $9,554,000. You have in your packet, as always, the variance report prepared by our bookkeeper and Conway. There are also budget adjustments, council members, and I will just direct your attention to most of the budgets, especially for those who are newer to the board. Every year, the bookkeeper has to repopulate any grant-funded projects, so all of the ins and outs and most of the budgets that you see here are just the annual repopulation in the budgets, the ins and outs of grant-funded projects as well.
Robert, do we have a grant award list that could be circulated?
We can develop a list for you, yeah, and circulate. Sure. Let me take a note of that. We can have Ann prepare that for you.
And do any of these budget adjustments change our end-of-year fund balance projection?
They do not. Except for this one for $690 that she's got here. And that's for a premium, a discrepancy in the premium for a retiree. Okay, any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the supervisor's report.
I have one question.
Sure.
On the disbursement of the solar farm,
Yes,
the $976,000,
that's right.
was that a grant that we received for that?
No, so just as a reminder, Kenny, we will receive the cost of the project, which was, we discussed at previous meetings, and we did the authorizations for the borrowing. So the borrowing totaled, I think it was $1.82 million for the project itself. And then NYSERDA gives us, and you're going to test my memory here, the incentive is around $150,000. And then the direct pay that we receive, you recall, as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, one of the differences was that you didn't have to be a private entity to take advantage of the tax credits. You can now be a municipality and get the direct rebate that the developers would also receive. And that amount is about $450,000, and that will happen the quarter after the system is live and we file a form with the IRS. So the balance of which will ultimately be the long-term borrowing. These proceeds came as a bond anticipation note at 3.7%.
Okay.
Yeah, and all of that were in previous meetings.
And what's the terms on it?
It's a 12-month bond anticipation note, and so we will go back in 12 months and likely do another bond anticipation, and we'll have to decide that, because then we'll know what the final, and you can borrow for 15 years on a project like this, so every bond offering that is out there relates to the useful life of a project, and for this it's 15 years.
Right.
It obviously will last longer than 15 years, but what you can borrow against it has a defined period, and then I can get you a schedule and show you, what our payments will be like under those scenarios, and then you can take a look at essentially how after it's all paid off, how it's going to be very accretive to the town's finances. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, and that is for the almost last payment. There's a holdback until the system is live and all checked. And by the way, I believe that Central Hudson has just finished their work on the system, and it's we're just waiting what they call a PTO, a permission to operate. Any other questions? If not, motion to accept the supervisor's report.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have a clerk's report. Deanna, if you'd be kind enough to read the clerk's report.
Town clerk's report for the period January 1st to January 31st. Total local shares remitted $6,975.50. Amount paid to New York State Agriculture and Markets for the spay-neuter program, $53. Amount paid to New York State Department of Health for marriage licenses, $22.50. Total state, county, and local revenues, $7,051. And I hereby certify that vouchers numbered 34387 to 34553, processed in the month of January 2026, are an accurate reporting of the abstracts approved for payment by the town board.
Thank you, Deanna. Any questions about the folks so far? I noticed we had 36 death certificates last month. Wow. Okay, is there a motion to accept the clerk's report?
So moved.
Second?
That's an all in favor, second by Councilperson Ducharme. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Deanna. Thank you very much. Very quickly on announcements, and we'll do the public hearing. It's that time of year you will receive both digitally and in the mail the annual spring events. They're similar to last year. We're going to try and combine a couple on the same day so our volunteers aren't giving up every weekend, but we have everything from e-waste to another repair cafe. Cleanup Day is now May 2nd scheduled. The fishing contest for the kids in the rec park, April 11th. Shred Day, May 9th. Apple Blossom is the same as May 9th as well. Arbor Day, April 25th. You get your free seedlings. All these events are free, by the way. And then another Guy VV demonstration day here at Town Hall. It's not on the flyer, but just as a reminder for Rec Park Summer Camp. We're very proud that we still offer a free summer camp for families here. The sign-ups are the first 2 Saturdays in June, so we'll also put that up on our website. And that is all I have for announcements. Anybody else before we jump into our public hearing? Okay, if not, Deanna, could I trouble you to maybe summarize the public hearing notice?
Notice of continued public hearing regarding Winnicke Land Trust Incorporated Camp Rising Sun project under the town's Community Preservation Fund program, Town of Red Hook. Please take notice that a continued public hearing will be held by the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook on February 10th, 2026 at 7:35 local time at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, pursuant to Town's Community Preservation Fund CPF program, to hear all interested persons regarding the acquisition of an interest or right in real property to preserve open space pursuant to Section 247 of the General Municipal Law, including the purchase of a contractual right necessary to achieve the purposes of such provisions for the project described below. Camp Rising Sun, application submitted by Winnicke Land Trust Incorporated for acquisition by the Town of Red Hook of a conservation easement and public access easement with respect to an approximately 142.62 acre parcel of property tax map ID number 134889-6372-00-313070, located at 110 Oriole Mills Road, Town of Red Hook, Dutchess County, New York. The total project cost of the property acquisition by Winnicke Land Trust Inc., including proposed program partner funding, is estimated not to exceed $1,600,000, and the town cost of acquisition of the easement and related costs is estimated not to exceed $390,000. With respect to such project, the town's project partner, Winnicke Land Trust Incorporated, a not-for-profit 501c3 corporation organized for the conservation or preservation of real property, has entered into a Department of Environmental Conservation Water Quality Improvement Program grant agreement for 75% funding for Winnicke Land Trust Incorporated's costs of acquisition of the property. It is proposed that the town will acquire a conservation easement and public access easement in the property. The town's cost to acquire such interest is estimated not to exceed 25% of the acquisition cost plus estimated additional project-related costs, and the town's cost is proposed to be financed from the CPF program. All interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard in person or by directing comments in writing to the town board 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook. All reasonable accommodations will be made for persons with disabilities. In such a case, please notify the town clerk so that arrangements can be made. Please take further notice that copies of said application is available for review at the office of the town clerk, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. By order of the town board of the town of Red Hook, dated November 19th, 2025. Deanna Cochran, town clerk, town of Red Hook.
Thank you, Deanna. Before we go ahead and open the public hearing, Bob, I hate to trouble you to do it again, but there will be people who were not here in October. Could we maybe ask you to give us like a 5-minute sort of quick run through again for the folks so that they know what the project entails?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, I'll be your page turner for you.
Okay. These WQIP projects seem to take forever.
Well,
I even had the staff to get me up to speed this morning.
okay, all right, good.
So, for those of you who weren't here in October for the last presentation, Winnicke has an opportunity to acquire 143 acre property here in Red Hook on Oriole Mills Road, currently owned by the Jonas Foundation and known as Camp Rising Sun. And we've been working on this for what seems like 2-3 years now. We can move on to the next slide. So this is an outline of the property and its location. And as you can see, it's located in a portion of the town which does not have another facility such as the one as we're proposing here. Purpose is to really acquire the property. Primary purpose is water quality protection, groundwater recharge, and surface water protection. But it affords us an opportunity to provide public access and some recreational facilities that are not really located in this part of the town. I think I just said that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is in the community preservation plan and identified as a priority for ag and source water protection. We do have about 40 acres of wetland on the property, and there's about a little over 1.5 miles of stream and tributary to the Saukville. It does identify along the Sauk Hill itself. It's very likely that there are, in fact, habitat that's important to freshwater fish. There are potentially some other species of wildlife that may also be included in that area that we can't really talk about right now. Haven't sampled for,
Okay,
but it's very likely that there are some there.
okay.
And we do have a trail concept for the property. We intend to enhance the access to the access road to the property, to create a 12-car parking area, a picnic area for residents, as well as a trail system throughout the property. And there is actually, you can't see it very easily here, but if you zoomed in on that upper field, there you go. You can see a little bump right there in the center, and that is a large wildlife viewing platform. And we're going to look into upgrading that and enhancing that to make it available for the public as well.
I think we do have an image of that somewhere further down the line. But sorry to interrupt.
Nope, that's fine. So again, this is just a summary, the couple of photos of the Sauk Hill itself, the tribs and the wetlands that surround it. Here's a little project timeline. We've been
Updated.
Yeah. It was. I think it was this morning it was updated. So we've been working on this for quite a while. We did get the announcement of our award in February of 2024. Signed the contract on February of 2025. Due diligence activities are scheduled to finish in April. All the appropriate contractors have already been retained and they're beginning their work. We hope to be able to execute the final purchase agreement with the Jonas Foundation in May of this year. At the same time, we finalize the conservation easement. July of 2026 might be a little bit aggressive, but we're going to do our best to get final approval from DEC for purchase of the property, and at the same time we would do a simultaneous conservation easement. And then we would hope by fall of 2026 we would have the parking area and access open to the public and ready to go.
Okay. Here are more maps, resources.
Oh, yeah, you do.
There's the viewing platform that you were referencing.
Yeah, we may have to make some improvements.
So just a little bit. Okay. I think that's it. These are just more
These are
photos of the property.
Photos of the property.
And just some characteristics of the property, a couple of picnic benches.
We'll enhance that.
Yeah.
That'll be renewed.
And this is the meadow. That's where I come. Very good. And so, just for the public's benefit, just to go over it, the entrance is here on Oriole Mills.
Yep.
You would enter here. There's a parking area that would be constructed here. And then these would be the trails here. The camp facilities are outside of the
Yes.
scope of this project, and they remain here in this area. If you're familiar with this portion of Oriole Mills, it's where it turns to dirt soon thereafter and is on a bit of a hairpin turn. Yeah.
I'd add a portion of that trail may be upgraded to ADA standards to make
Okay.
it accessible.
Okay.
And again, it'll be a multi-use trail, so it'll be for hiking, we might have biking, and certainly cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, any kind of non-motorized activity.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much, Bob. And if you would hang out, see if you get some questions, that'd be terrific. And we'll have some discussions too as well. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this project? Okay, I realize this is a continuation. Why don't we're going to have some discussion, so why don't we just leave it open until after the discussion, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, let's go to the other agenda items. Why don't we take a few public comments, if anyone would like to make some public comments, and then we'll jump right into
Well,
the agenda.
Are we gonna go through the EAF?
Yeah, that's agenda item number 1. We'll do public comments first, and then we'll jump right into the secret review and other issues related to the project. Yeah. Okay.
Are these public comments only about this project? Is that what you're saying?
No. Regular public comments. Does anybody like to make some public comments? Roxanne, would you be kind enough to just come to the mic and state your name, please?
Roxanne Fisher, Barrytown, New York. Good evening. I'm here again to address the town's ongoing pursuit of the Red Hook Boat Club property through eminent domain and the clear pattern of mismanagement this has created. Using FOIL requests, I obtained detailed records of the legal, planning, and consulting expenses tied to this acquisition and the related zoning changes. I am submitting an attached spreadsheet, and I respectfully request that it be entered into the official record of the meeting. Hundreds of line items are explicitly coded to Boat Club acquisition, TRH versus Boat Club, eminent domain, or the zoning amendments enacted to facilitate this taking. These records show that the town has now spent just under $300,000 on matters related directly or closely related to the Boat Club acquisition. Importantly, these figures only go through November 2025. With discovery and depositions now actively proceeding in the eminent domain litigation, these costs will continue to climb significantly higher in the months to come. I specifically call on Council Member Jacob Testa and Deputy Supervisor Bill Hamill. Wake up to the reality of what this is costing and the damage it is doing to our community. Rescind your votes and immediately end this waste. The residents of Red Hook deserve transparency, fiscal responsibility, and leadership, not an ever-escalating legal fight with no end in sight. I will provide printed copies of the spreadsheet to the town clerk.
Thank you, Roxanne. Would anybody else like to make some public comments? Okay, hearing none, let's jump right into agenda item number 1.
Are we leaving the public hearing open?
The public hearing is being left open on this for now, and we'll decide maybe later if we want to close it or if we'd like to keep it open. And we did want to do some secret work, and in particular, I wanted to ask you about, I just came to know that you have some interesting programs that you do related to Blanding's turtle. I was not aware of that, so we'll probably be talking about that, right? Because I think it had been previously identified as a habitat, right? So
There is
yeah,
suitable habitat there.
suitable habitat.
Yes.
Okay. Well, very good. We want to also make sure that that is considered as well. Okay. Well, folks, where do we want to start? We did part 1 already. That was done back in the fall. Shall we jump over to, first I would say that the application was referred to the CPF advisory board as it's required to be, and we received a memo back in October recommending that the plan, that the project be funded. And here's part 1 of the EAF. And why don't we, there's some of the maps associated with it. Why don't we jump into part 2? Would that make sense?
Well, I do have questions about part 1. I understand it's been adopted, but was it reviewed, was part 1 reviewed by a consultant?
Part 1, I believe, was prepared by Winnick. The draft was prepared and we reviewed it, if I recall correctly. I hope I got that correct. Yeah. Did you have questions about part 1,
Well,
Christina?
yeah, I mean, the description in part 1 seems incomplete because it states that it's the acquisition, but there's no activity.
I'm sorry, there's no activity?
There's no activity proposed.
It does say the conservation easement will also grant public access to the Rising Sun property, which is identified as tax parcel. So would you like a more body in that description? You talk about passive trail.
I mean, in the notes, in the description you offered, you mentioned the primary purpose is water protection.
Water protection.
So I would ask what's the backup on that? Were there engineering studies or what?
Water protection?
Yes.
Yeah, it was identified by Department of Environmental Conservation as being a priority area for maintaining both surface water and groundwater protection for the town.
And where is that? Where's that backup?
And the source water protection that was just approved by the state.
Yeah,
Is there a study or like what are we looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe Christine, I apologize. I thought it was assumed, but maybe we should just go back to a map here and understand. This is the Sawkill.
I understand that.
It's a Class B.
I understand that, but this is not like a study that was prepared by a professional.
No, there was not a study that was done. This is a conservation easement on a property that's been identified by both the state and by the local municipality as being important for protection of the water resources that exist there. Also identified in our community preservation plan and its ranking, so on and so forth. As you know, I think the Sawkill Watershed Community Group, which has been working Many Volunteers Now is going to celebrate their 10th anniversary next week, I think, for having that.
I'm not disputing any of that. I just think as we go through this,
Yeah.
it will become clearer, but there's the completeness of this EAF and the backup in order to answer the questions that seeker requires is what's leading my line of questioning. Not a questioning of the project, it's a question of if we're taking a hard look at the EAF. So we can keep moving through it, but
Okay. All right, so we can certainly add more in the description there and talk about passive trails and so on and so forth. We can do that, we can beef that up.
so there are other enhancements, ADA enhancements that were mentioned, trails, enhancements to viewing platforms.
Yeah, I think it's important, our action is the acquisition.
Yes, but
and
this
it
is part of,
mentions- yeah,
that's part of
finish.
our action is to complete the environmental assessment.
And the passive recreation, yeah. Okay, so we can put a little more in the description there. I think we have the acreage. Any other part of that you would like to see more on? I think they've got the soil characteristics. Anything else on the part one? We could beef that up. Description. Let's see what we've got in part two. Maybe there's some language in there in part two and part three that's we can tap into. So, council members, as you know, we go through these various impacts, potential impacts. The action is the acquisition of an easement and public access. Impact on land, there is impact on land because there will be passive trails as part of the land. And
So we
there will
checked
be a
yes, but we
consequence.
didn't complete the rest of this.
Yeah.
If you check yes, you have to answer questions A through, well, it says A through J, but it actually only goes to H.
I don't believe that's the case, Christina. This was prepared by our planner. Part two, it's because of the type of the action. But we can certainly have that reviewed again and we can get you that explanation for it.
Yeah, I disagree with how that's
Okay.
filled out.
Okay. And then that is the only yes impact that has been prepared here. Geological features, this is not a project that involves development other than, potentially new trails. The trails actually exist on the property. And impacts on surface water, obviously the impacts, the protection are the kind of impacts that we'd like to see. They're protected, groundwater, flooding, impacts on air.
In totality, I think this document has been filled out in regards to the acquisition, but not the totality of the project.
Okay.
So,
So let's go through the various impacts, and you stop me where you think it should be beefed up, and then we'll get to the narrative. Maybe the narrative would be a good place to take a look at and see if we've got some language in there that's
well,
helpful.
what is our goal tonight with this EAF?
The goal is to review it.
To
That's
review
all.
it, but not
In the
approve it.
draft. Well, it depends if the board feels comfortable approving it or not.
I feel like it's very lacking, and it needs a lot more information in order to be adequately completed. So, before we spend an enormous amount of time going through each section, I'm not prepared to do that because I don't feel like I have enough information to answer all of these questions. And I know that the actions are relatively minor, and I support the project, but the EAF I do not feel is adequately completed as a design professional.
Do you have specific recommendations of what you'd like included? Let's go to the narrative because, as you know, these forms don't always tell the full story of the project, and so let's see if we've got something there that maybe either helps address your concerns or not.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go through it, then we should go through it line by line. But it's,
Okay, may we just look at the narrative, please, on part 3? And with that in mind, I think we added something. Bob, did you want to just talk about very briefly? I know that our attorney was on the phone with Jen from your office talking about landing turtles. And you all have do you want to just talk about that for a second? Some of the, if you're familiar, I don't know if that's...
I can give you a little background.
Yeah.
There is a section of the property that's identified as having habitat characteristics that would be favorable to Blanding's turtle, which is a species of greatest conservation need in New York. And there's no confirmed presence or absence of that particular turtle on the property.
Okay.
We're just making note of the fact that there is habitat there that would be suitable for it.
Okay.
If it is indeed present in the area and using that site. One of the things we would do initially upon acquiring the property is do that presence and absence survey. One of our staff members does have a permit, or is permitted by the state to handle endangered species, and has been doing extensive work with Blanding's turtle in the area. We have them on many of our properties. We've been doing everything from capture and estimating the demographics of the population. We've been tagging with radio transmitters and following their movements with radio telemetry devices to identify where nesting sites are and where we need to enhance protection. And we're actually engaging in a head starting program with some of them on another property where we'll be capturing them, raising them in captivity for a few years, and then returning them back into the wild. What else can I add? So we have a little bit of experience with Blanding's turtle and a couple of other species that might be there. But again, as of this moment, nothing has been identified by either DEC or Hudsonia or anyone else as actually present on the property.
Okay, we did think it might be good to add some language in there. In the part 3, the verbiage of which, the property contains habitat that could be ideal for certain life cycle activities of Blanding's turtles. I'm not going to pronounce the scientific name of that because I will get it wrong. Including wetlands for foraging, breeding, brumation and estivation, forests and upland areas for migration, brumation, estivation, and meadows for nesting. The proposed project includes trail improvements and potential new trail creation to avoid impacts on Blanding turtles, should there be Blanding turtles. No trails or other actions could negatively affect the turtles. Will occur, trails or other actions that could negatively affect the turtles will occur in wetlands on the property. Oh, no turtles. In that sense, I don't like the way that reads. No trails or other actions that could negatively affect the turtles will occur in wetlands on the property. Okay. Additionally, no actions including mowing, trail connection, trail creation or improvement, or ground disturbing trail maintenance will occur during turtle nesting season. So that's May, June.
April, May, possibly June.
Okay. The project will continue the use of existing trails on the site used by Camp Rising Sons campers. The proposed action may result in the construction of new trails. Such trails will be designed to have a minimal footprint on the land and their location and construction for public use. Therefore, the conservation and public access easement purchase project is not expected to result in any significant environmental impacts. That was added on to the part 3. Can we just look at the rest of the language there? Begins the conservation and public access easement purchase project will convert a site used for educational programming for primarily middle school age children from around the world, established beginning in 1930. While used at times for agriculture in the past, the project site is not within the Dutchess County Agricultural District 21, but adjoins properties that are. The site contains 41.6 acres of highly productive soils and 12 acres of cleared meadow. However, the land has not been used for agricultural purposes for many years. The conservation easement will prohibit future agricultural uses at the site, which will allow the site's cleared meadows to be turned into native habitats for species like the monarch butterfly, a species of greatest conservation need in New York State. Additionally, prohibiting agriculture will limit the amount of pesticide and fertilizer that could be used on the land, thereby preventing chemical runoff into the Sawkill, a New York State protected Class C stream. Is it Class C? It's B.
It's B. I think she might have meant the tributary that was running into it. That's the only reason I can think she might have put it down as CT.
The tributary, yeah. Let's make that change, please. It's a Class B stream that flows through the site. It's a typo. Although, yeah, okay. The Sawkill in the reach that flows through the site is classified for trout spawning. Maybe, I think you're right. Maybe she's referring to, or Ted's referring to the small portion
I think she's
flows into it.
yeah.
Okay, my apology. The Sawkill in the reach that flows through the site is classified for trout spawning by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and is currently used by trout for spawning. Downstream from the project site, the Sawkill is also used as a source of drinking water for Red Hook's residents, businesses, and institutions.
Robert?
Yeah?
Could I just suggest in that paragraph a slight clarification?
Yeah.
That it says the conservation easement or prohibit future agricultural uses at this, it's a
With the exception of
with
forestry?
the exception of certain restricted forestry,
Okay,
right? Because forestry is a type of use.
okay.
Can we just include that? I know it's going to get kind of a long sentence there.
Okay, I'm sorry, give me the verbiage again, that you're recommending?
Well, you might have to restructure the sentence, but the conservation easement will prohibit future agricultural uses at the site,
Okay,
with the exception of certain forestry,
with the exception,
paren.
okay,
Does that make sense?
of certain forestry, okay.
Does that mean you're gonna
Right.
permit logging?
Well, selective, I think Robert circulated, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, they can.
But, okay, I think Robert circulated a draft of the conservation easement, which is still under review.
Yeah.
But the draft is intended to allow limited forestry that would not affect the wetlands and that would allow, maintenance of the forestry there, which is intended to be part of what's being preserved is the forest, right? So it's not intended to be clear cut, in other words. And Bob may want to speak to that more specifically, but there are restrictions included in the conservation easement that speak to that. And I believe that language came from what DEC wanted to see on these properties. Is that correct, Bob?
That is correct. There's no intent, there's no plans by Winnicke to actually engage in any logging for, purely commercial purposes.
And when will that be circulated? The draft conservation easement?
You
I have it.
Where is it?
In the packet.
Which page is it?
Christina, you'll have to scroll through it. It's in this section. I don't know the page in front of me, but it's there as well. So Bob, typically what do? You try to manage the forest as best.
Yeah, this is not logging for the purpose
Yeah.
of extracting value or product. The idea would be if in our assessment of the property going forward and identification of any particular wildlife that might be present there, if it's necessary to alter that structure in order to enhance the habitat for that species, that would give us the ability to do that.
Yeah.
That's really all we're talking about.
So selective cutting.
Yeah, I guess I guess the yes is the answer to that, but technically, from a silvicultural perspective, that's kind of not a very good way to describe it.
Okay.
You're getting rid of a lot of dead wood before it becomes an issue, is that kind of what
No,
you're
the
doing?
idea would be if you needed to allow more
Open up-
light,
open
if you
up the
needed to
canopy.
change the composition slightly or
Okay.
alter the H-class structure, that's what it would be used for, but it would not be done, for the purpose, for the principal purpose of extracting,
Right. There's no commercial logging allowed,
Right.
right? You're not cutting something to sell something.
you couldn't do it out.
Right. There aren't that many trees there anyway, to begin with, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know we've done work together with volunteers on trying to manage the Sawkill property, which is sort of the template for this project. This is really quite a similar project to that one, obviously there are differences. Any other environmental considerations that we haven't taken into account?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of them.
Can
I
you
mean,
be a
where
little more
is
specific?
where is the backup? I do have the draft conservation easement, which is helpful, but where is the backup for the EAF?
Well, when you say the back, what specifically are you looking for?
What professional prepared this, and what is the information that this is based on?
I think Ted Fink's name is on it, right? Isn't Ted Fink's name our planner on
He
this?
signed it already. He prepared it.
Prepared?
Okay.
We asked him to take a look at this. The information he reviewed, which is also a part of what is a proposed deck, was the conservation and public access easement, the Hudson Valley Natural Resource Mapper, the Dutchess County parcel access.
Yeah, but that's not an engineering study of the property. So like, what are the trails going to be made out of? What is the acreage of disturbance? What are the details of the ADA platform or the viewing platform, and where is all that information?
The information we've provided is the trails where they're expected to go.
But that's
hang
not
on,
enough
hang on,
information.
there's
A
like- hang
diagram of the trails is not enough information to answer the questions in the full EAF.
It doesn't sound like to me you've fully determined all the item 4 or stone dust or anything that you were going to be using
Probably
for
not
the
going to use
trails.
any of that.
Anything,
It's
right.
probably.
Because it's all, it's mostly pre-existing, right? Yeah.
It's probably going to be just a mowed trail through
mowed trail.
the field.
So if this is a draft, I mean, I'm in support of the project. I just think we're not there yet to review the full EAF because we don't have the engineering, we don't have the information in order to adequately follow the seeker process.
I don't know that there would be any engineering on this. What would be engineered? This is a,
There would be a design of a trail, there would be disturbance to construct a trail, so there would be.
I actually think that that's addressed, that there's minimal disturbance if any, right? You're talking about mowing.
I have to go from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to fill out lots of these, but I haven't done it in quite a while.
Yeah.
But unless the amount of ground disturbance exceeds an acre.
Yeah.
But that needs to be demonstrated. We can't just have a map that shows a dotted line, we need to know what the disturbance is, because if it does exceed an acre, which it could because this is a large property, I have no way of knowing that. So there's backup that's needed in order to complete the AF. And that's not me saying that, that's New York State.
So we would need to have some language, I think, in the easement, perhaps, if we want to keep it under an acre.
We would need to design the trails and understand on a map what they are, what they're constructed of, what the dimensions are, what trees are gonna be cleared.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions.
So, Robert,
Yeah.
right now, you have a conservation easement which, like the Sawkill easement, restricts the location of the trails to either there will be a list of trails, a map of trails that have been previously pre-approved by DEC that we have a draft of right now, right? Most of which are existing trails. And so I think, Bob, it would be helpful to know what is the length of trails that are being proposed to provide some more specificity that are not pre-existing trails. And as the conservation easement, again, this is a draft, but as the proposal is being considered, the restrictions include no paved surfaces. In other words, non-impermeable surfaces would be what are permitted for the trails, and the trail widths are limited in the document, and they're limited in the same way that they are limited in the Sawkill example, which
But as an example, Chris, so permeable surfaces, a gravel parking lot is considered by an engineering standard to be impermeable, even though it's not asphalt, it's gravel, and some amount of water goes through it. But in terms of designing the site, that's an impermeable surface. So if we're creating a parking area for, I think it was said 12 cars, what does that look like? What are the dimensions of it? What is the drainage of that, which is especially relevant if we're looking at groundwater protection. We want to make sure that that's considered. So I see a lot of
We could get a measurement of that,
I see a lot of
right?
missing
Of that
information.
area?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do a measurement of that.
Let's do a design of what we intend to do in totality with all the things that were mentioned.
Well, with all
That's-
the things you reference is really, I just hear any new trail constructions, what are the length of the existing trails?
But
and then-
Robert, seeker requires that we consider everything that we intend to do to the property.
Okay, I want to be very clear about, we don't intend to do anything to the property. It is not our property. We are looking at this as an acquisition of public access. This property will belong to Winnicke. They are the ones who are
But we're signing off,
responsible.
but we're
Let
involved
me-
in
Christina,
the-
I would just
the-
ask that you would let me finish talking, and then I'll try to explain some of the challenges with these projects. They have to go, after this is all said and done, they have to go with whatever their sketch is, if you will, to DEC, and DEC will have to sign off on it. There will be no engineering, from what I understand, until DEC gets to look at a rudimentary sketch and design plan, and that will only happen way down the line, way after this project has been acquired and funded, right? So we're in that, tricky situation. I'm sure you in your profession and your role in the planning board know about that catch-22. We're in a position now where we don't really know where the trails are going to go. We just know what existing trails are there, where there's proposed some more mowing, where they'd like to have a parking area or expand an existing parking area. So there's only so much that we can do. We can kind of take a look at the sketch, kind of like DEC will, because they're not going to go out, I don't believe them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, you're not going to have a full-blown engineering done and water tests and parking lot and
We never have,
permeability.
unless DEC actually requires it. And
Right.
again, they will be reviewing any plans we do have,
Right.
and they have to approve that and issue any appropriate permits before we're able to do anything.
Right.
You're not planning on putting any fences on the trail, are you? Just checking.
That I'm aware of.
Some people like fences.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but I respectfully disagree completely with the approach to this. And I understand DEC permitting is part of the process for any disturbance that's within the buffer to any wetlands, and those regulations just changed and got a lot more strict at the beginning of the year. So that's definitely part of this process. But in terms of us reviewing this full EAF, we do not have enough information to
Right.
complete this.
I'm trying to get an idea of the things that you're going to need, because while it may sound helpful to say we don't have enough information, that doesn't get us to the next step, which is having the information. So right now it sounds like you want to have some quantity related to the trails and to the parking area to look at disturbance and whether or not it meets a certain threshold that I've got.
Okay.
Anything else that comes to mind, because we'd like to, get whatever information we think would be helpful to add to this. And I will just say, while you reference the new wetlands regulations, I just want to point out this is a project that is being funded with New York State Water Quality Improvement WQIP program. There's a whole another set of restrictions when they acquire it. So it goes beyond the new freshwater wetlands program. And, stepping back, this project is protective. The impact is almost entirely positive because it protects those resources that have been identified by the state, by our own drinking water source protection plan, our own community preservation plan, and so on and so forth. So, trying to move this forward, we've got length of trails, new trails disturbance,
design of the trails, materials, area of disturbance.
I think we'll have to do limitation on materials. I don't think you're ready to tell us, are you just yet, like exactly what material is going to go in what spot? But maybe we can narrow our review to certain items you might use.
The only thing I can think of right here, and Jen will be designing this. Okay. But the only thing I can think of in terms of actual surfacing wouldn't occur on the trails itself, but would occur on the access road and parking area. Okay. Which would probably be limited to some, nothing more than gravel. Okay. I mean, we would probably just level it, put down some geotextile and. Okay.
And I would say that overall, I'm not going to be able to list every bit and piece of this that would need to be included, but it should be reviewed by an engineer.
I'm not sure what would need to be reviewed by an engineer on this. I think our planner's qualified to do an environmental impact of a project like that, has done these types of projects ad nauseum.
Then maybe we should have a discussion offline with Ted about it, because there's a significant amount of missing information and backup to complete a full EAF. I mean, there's never been a full EAF that Ted has reviewed that's gone through the planning board that has been this light for this type of project with this scope.
Well, I don't think preservation projects go through the planning.
It's a conservation.
I understand that, but we're required to look at the total impact of the project.
Of the conservation easement.
Yes, it's a conservation easement. If we were doing nothing to the property, if we were going to acquire it and not touch it, and the plan was
that's what we're doing.
Keep it. No, we're putting parking on it.
No, this is the conservation easement. We're not doing that.
Yes, but the seeker process requires us to look at all of that in order to fill out this EAF.
All right, so we've got two questions we'd like to have answered, and if you all can think of more that we could have added. I don't feel the need to have any engineering study done. We've had the experts from Department of Health who did our grant-funded Drinking Water Source Protection Plan identified these efforts as being critical to the protection of the Saltkill, and obviously the Saltkill dumps out into the Hudson River. But sure, we should try and get more detail, I guess. You know, makes sense to me. Any other thoughts? Jacob?
Nope.
On the seeker stuff? Bill?
Oh, I had one thing. There, on the printed version, there's a typo in the last paragraph. For proposed action, the second sentence, there's an E missing there.
It needs an E, yeah, I noticed that.
So that's the one.
Okay. Very good. Kenny, Bill, anything else to say? Okay. If not, maybe I would recommend, I don't know what you all think, we would keep the public hearing open till maybe the second meeting of March, where we know we're in the first meeting of February, maybe the first meeting of March. Will that be okay if we can get some more information? We keep the public hearing open and we could take, potentially take action in March then? Try and get answers to some of the questions that have been posed tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, and you'll bring that back to Jen or whoever else at one of you. And then we'll be in touch with our planner and try and incorporate that, and maybe we'll put you in touch with Ted, who you know well. What say you? Works for you?
Yes.
Works for you. Okay, we have the public hearing open. I would like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing to Tuesday, March 10th. I do have that date right on that. 7:35. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I also make a motion to make those edits that were recommended by both Jacob and our attorney to this draft, and there may be more edits based upon information that we request. Is there a motion to accept the edits, at least temporarily, on this second draft?
So moved.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Second.
Second? Did I miss that step? I might have missed that step. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Bill moved and I seconded.
Bill and I. Thank you very much. Very good. Before we go, Bill, is there anything else? I think that kind of is it. You're working on, you all are working on the survey, appraisals, all of that stuff?
All of that's moving forward.
Perfect, so that would mean we even have that stuff back, or at least some of it back. Very good. Okay,
Robert?
yes ma'am?
Before you move on, would you want to at least review the text of the approving resolution, just to see if there are any questions or information that people would like to have provided for that?
Okay, on the draft, sure, that's a good suggestion. Let's look at that if we would, please. Granting approval for the use of monies in the CPF fund for the acquisition of easement rights in the Winnicke Land Trust, Camp Rising Sun property. Let me scroll. We're almost there. For the folks at home, here's the resolution, draft resolution granting approval, so we can take a look at this and maybe have this ready for March, if we're in a position to make a decision in March. An application and certain supplemental information has been submitted. Camp Rising Sun, it shows the acreage, the parcel number. Public hearing was held on the 10th day of February. We should probably add the previous public hearing to that, Chris?
Sure.
Yeah, October, whatever, and then we'll obviously add the public hearing again, March 10th, 2026. Discussion on the matter having been had and all persons desire to be heard, pursuant to Chapter 57 of the Town Code. We've established a CPF fund, we've adopted a plan, We issued a request for applications, and the Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board has reviewed the proposals received based upon the priority rankings set forth, and has recommended that the town board allocate monies from the CPF for the parcels, and whereas it's proposed that the town of Red Hook shall hold a perpetual conservation easement with public access easement, and whereas with respect to the parcel, the town's proposed project partner, Winnicke Land Trust, has obtained a commitment from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Water Quality Improvement Program for funding of 75% of the acquisition cost. This cost is estimated to be $1.6 million. That's all costs rolled in there, I imagine. The total project cost to be borne by the town is estimated not to exceed $390. We've got a contingency amount to bring it up to $390 based upon what we think, but we don't know. We don't know what we know until we know it, which is until we get those appraisals back. And such cost is proposed to be financed from the CPF program. The town board has determined that such action is an unlisted action, and based upon the review of an EAF and all other information available to the board, that the proposed action will not have a significant effect on the environment. And whereas the town board has given due consideration of the recommendation of the board and further reviewed the application documents, determined the purchase of development rights in the parcels as a high priority project on the basis of importance of the resources to be preserved, the anticipated availability of funding by others, and the availability of funding under the town's CPF. Whereas the purchase of development rights in the parcels as proposed is in the best interest of the town, now therefore be it resolved that the purchase of a conservation easement of public access is approved on the proposed terms set forth herein with an estimated town share of $390, subject to the following conditions: confirmation of final approval of all funding sources described herein, including a grant from DEC. Well, we do have that confirmation, but sure. Submission and review of an appraisal addressed to the town includes the form of conservation easement supporting the purchase price, the terms of the easement to be approved by the town board, and the foregoing conditions to be satisfied by the end of the year unless such date is extended by further resolution. Any comments about that as a proposed draft, so we could take that up next month if we're ready to do so? Okay. I mean, we could, if we're feeling like we wanted to, we could reference our drinking water source protection plan.
If you do that, you should have the date that the state just sent us the letter
Right.
finalizing that.
Right. Okay, well, let's look at that for how we would just include it in the one of the whereases. Any other thoughts on this as a draft? No. Okay. Very good. So we'll see what we have for next month.
We'll see you in March.
Fill in the questions. Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you or someone else. I really want to hear more about the Blandings turtles. I saw one of your folks, by the way, on Sunday. Laura Heedy, who
Yes.
has a estuary, had her film, actually at BARD, The Nature of Nature, which is all about these types of projects and protecting the habitats. And so very good. Thank you very much for all your work. And to the extent you can help us answer some of these questions, that'd be great.
Happy to do it. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Bob. Okay, why don't we jump into the second item of business, which is in essence a redo or another do. The resolution requesting the home rule request on the extension of the CPF to 2051. Now that we have bill numbers in the Senate and the Assembly. Anybody have any questions about this resolution? They are in session, so they'll need this from us. to move. This is pretty much what other municipalities who needed extensions for active. Okay, hearing no questions about that, I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number...
9.
What's that?
9.
Resolution number 9. Thank you very much.
You have to do second.
You're happy with second resolution number 9? Very good. Let me read the resolution first. if I may. For the folks at home, I've got a lot of scrolling to do, don't I? Don't get dizzy, people.
It's page 81.
What's that? 81. Thank you very much, Jacob. If I were an octopus. Resolution 81, we're in accordance with chapter
Resolution 9.
9, page 81, whereas in accordance with chapter 443 of the laws of 2006, codified at section 64H of the town law and article 31A1, article 31 is the tax law. Pursuant to chapter 57 of the Red Hook Town Code, the town has previously established the Town of Red Hook Community Preservation Fund that was established by public referendum back in 2007, funded by a 2% real estate transfer tax to implement a plan for preservation of community character, to acquire interests or rights in real property for the preservation of community character within the town, including villages, in accordance with such plan and in cooperation with willing sellers, and to provide a management and stewardship program for such interests and rights. The town has established an advisory board, and the town has adopted a community preservation plan as amended from time to time, which is a requirement of the law. Whereas the town of Red Hook wishes to continue the authority to collect the real estate transfer tax for the Community Preservation Fund, and whereas the town board wishes to request official action of the state legislature through section 40 of the MHRL, whereas Senator Hinchy and Assembly Member Strick have drafted legislation and has been introduced in both the Senate and Assembly as Senate Bill S090401 and Assembly Bill 10052, copies of which are annexed hereto and on file with the town clerk. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board hereby issues this home rule request for Senate Bill 9041, Assembly Bill 10052, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 443 of the laws of 2006, amending the tax law relating to authorizing the town of Red Hook to impose a real estate transfer tax with revenues therefore from to be deposited in said community preservation fund in relation to the effectiveness thereof. Town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of the resolution, the home rule request form, and other normal ending of resolutions here. And just for the folks at home, if you drive on West Curly Corners and you look left and you look right, and you enjoy the spectacular working landscapes, if you go past Kalina Farm, if you drive past the Close Farm, if you go to the Potts Farm, that beautiful farm that has the word hope on it just north of Tivoli, all of that is permanently protected, and it's permanently protected because of this fund, this funding source. And this is to continue this funding source so that future projects that will also enhance the quality of life here in our community, which, by the way, is probably the biggest economic driver in our community, is the quality of life. And so this will enable us to have funds at the ready, should we need them, for recreational lands, historic properties, working landscapes, so on and so forth. And that is resolution number 9, which I moved, and you seconded, Rob?
Correct.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. This is resolution number 9. The third item is really, as I mentioned earlier, not ready for discussion. It's just to put a draft on your desk for consideration. It's also going to go to the Water Board. As you know, we made a request of Bard College to make a contribution towards the water tank repair, rehab, whatever the appropriate term is. Many years ago when the tank was built in the late 80s, Bard College, which was using the water a lot more than they are now, agreed to pay for half of the construction of the tank, which back then was, I think, $400,000. We made a request of them. They did consider it with their board. They came back with a contribution that they'd be willing to make. 200,000 level. They would be able to make a contribution in their next next fiscal year of $100,000 and $50,000 for 2 years thereafter, for a total contribution of $200,000, which is approximately something like 12% of the total project cost. Just again, we don't know the total project cost until we go out to bid, but that's what we anticipated. Cost $1.67 million with contingencies built in there. We did an analysis of their usage over the last 10 years, and it's less than 1% of the water. They also compared what they would have spent had they been just treated as an out-of-district, which they are out-of-district, but charged at twice the rate, which is what the village does, for example, for us. Here at Town Hall, they charge us double because it's their water, but we're out of the district, even if only by a few feet. And then when we ran that, it looked like they would have paid $40,000 over the last 10 years, as an example. In talking with Hank, he suggested that, if we had a new agreement with Bard, that it only lasts 10 years if that's the contribution that they're going to make, and then revisit it in 10 years, and obviously we'd have to have some language in the draft agreement about what to do in the event of something else needing to be fixed in the meantime. And so there's just a draft, and if you would be kind enough to take some time between now and next meeting and take a look at it and your thoughts, and then we'll get some feedback from the Water Board as to what their thoughts are.
Can you just explain how they arrived at the figure of 200?
I can't.
You don't know?
I have no idea. I can't speak for them.
And so based on their usage, if they were to be charged 2x
If you
over
look-
10 years, you're saying they would have paid 40,000-ish?
42, 40-ish, so it's better to get the, if you look at it that way, it's better to get the 200,000 versus the 42. Now, keep in mind that the rates are creeping up a little bit, so the next 10 years might be 60,000, for example. We don't know what those rates are, but just as a comparison.
Well, I think another aspect of it would be like, has BART explored other alternatives if the tank wasn't going to be provided to them, and what would the cost be if that was the case, if they didn't have access?
That's Bard's calculations, but yeah,
Right, but
they
I
could
mean,
just look at having a smaller storage tank of their own that they could pump into instead of sharing with us.
Sure, but in terms of negotiating and understanding what the value is to BARD, I think that'd be part of the equation.
Yeah, that's their determination, how they arrived at it, yeah. Okay, that's all I have on that, unless anybody else has that. So So for reorg, the goal tonight was if we could continue to identify vacancies and to appoint any chairs that we haven't appointed for the various, I'm going the wrong way, for the various committees and boards, so that we can send a letter out to the community as we do, where our openings are, and we can send letters of interest, and then we can connect those people with the chairs of the committees and boards, and then those chairs can come back to us and communicate if they have recommendations for folks to join the various boards. So let's see if we can pick up at our last meeting. Whose memory is the best here? Kenny, we didn't have you at the last meeting. Did you get a chance to check in with the committee to see if there were any other vacancies? I see that there are 2, and we should update those years, by the way.
No, I didn't.
Not yet, okay. If we could do that by the next meeting. Right now, we can still go ahead and we can include the Agriculture and Open Space Committee as having openings, so we can still make that communication to the community. But it would be good when we start getting some folks expressing interest, if we then knew how many vacancies we had. So if you could, maybe in the next meeting or 2, that'd be helpful.
And what about contact info for all these people?
Yeah, we have all that. We can provide you with that. If
Yeah.
you don't have that. Yeah.
Have that.
And we'll do.
Yeah, we have all that. We have all that information. Maybe tonight, though, maybe reappoint Mary Ann so that when we do get, if we so desire, so that when we do get expressions of interest, we could forward them to her and she can meet with those individuals.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Did you want to make that motion, Kenny, or would you like somebody else to do that?
Oh, yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay, to reappoint
Mary
Mary Ann Johnson as the chair with a
Yes.
1-year term,
Yeah, I
ending
think we have to appoint her
2026.
to a chair, to a seat ending in 2027 as well, because she's expiring this year, right?
Well, the people don't expire, the terms do.
Yeah.
And let's reappoint her to a term ending in 2027, so the motion is modified by Councilperson Testa. And will you also second that, Jacob,
I'll second it.
as modified? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Could we change the term of the vacancy, that first one, to be, actually both of them? So the first, they should both say 20, we don't have staggering here, folks. We really need to get some staggering here.
Be 26, right?
Can we make the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. I think both of these should be 2026, so we have some staggering. These are 2-year appointments. Oh, and we have to do Chuck's. So, good. All right, so,
I think we can address the vacancies whenever we have people that we're looking to appoint to
okay,
update that, right? I don't think we have to update the sheet right now for those.
well,
They should be all staggered and they're
They
not.
should be
Yeah,
staggered.
they should be staggered, so I think, well, we can't put Chuck Mead yet, because he hasn't been reappointed, but he'll be a 26, and then we should make the 2 vacancies, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the first one we can make ending in 27.
Well, you got
26.
You got Norman, John, and Sam at 25.
Yeah, we're gonna, all of those are gonna change, Kenny, when we do the appointments, but it's the vacancies that are, yeah, they're all
Out of sync.
out of sync. Let's tackle the vacancies tonight, just so we know the terms. Can we take those 2 vacancies and make them 2027, please? Can
well, should
we
they be 26 to stagger?
to stagger more? 1, 2, 3. You're right, we'll only have 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
It'd be 5.
5. Okay, so the first vacancy, 2026. you want to make that motion, Jacob?
Sure.
And then the second vacancy, also make a 6? No, I think we can make that a 7, right? Because Chuck's gonna be at 2026 when he gets reappointed, so
Yeah, I mean, we'll have,
we'll have 4 of one and 5 of the other, which is fine.
sure.
Well, it says 11 members, oh, it's not 11 members.
No, it's not.
There's like 9 there.
Why are these typos in there? 9 members, please. Yeah, it wasn't 11 members, right?
No.
When you and I were back in the 1940s on this committee, was it
Yeah.
11?
I don't remember, but
I
I don't think you have 11 farmers in there.
Well,
Township.
I know. Okay. Let's look at how many members were originally constituted for this. And then the motion was to make the first vacancy 2027 and the second 2026. Or vice versa, it was vice versa.
Can you
Either
knock
way.
it- Can you knock it down to 9 members?
No, well, we're not gonna do anything yet till we know what it's supposed to be. For some reason, we only have this listed and then we don't have vacancies. We would need to have
Right now, it
vacancies.
is 9.
Right now, it is 9. And I'm wondering if that's just a typo that says 11 members. Let's look how it was constituted and make sure we're keeping with that. And then we come back at the next meeting and decide if we want it to be 9 or 11. Ask Mary Ann what she thinks. I bet you I can take a wild guess on that one.
And Robert, since this is an advisory committee, I think the board can make a decision when it appoints. You
Yes.
know, you can, you know, when you can move to,
Yeah,
you know, like this many members and that represents a, 9-member committee.
yeah, sure,
Because-
sure.
Because unlike so many things, I don't think that there's a code provision on this.
No, that's fine. I mean, we could make a motion to say 9, but I don't want to do that until I know, I mean, this is just me, until I know that it's supposed to be 11 right now, and we discuss it with Mary Ann, who may want to
No,
discuss it
understood,
with the
understood.
committee about how
But when
many
you
members.
decide,
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, there was a motion to make the first vacancy 2026 and the second one 2027. I know there was.
Correct, I made that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
All right, Assessment Review Board, these are 5 members, these are 5-year terms. Now, we need to reappoint Pete Hubble as the chair, so I'd like to make that motion.
Second?
Thank you very much, Christina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have vacancies, so that vacancy, let's make sure we're on the right schedule here. We only have 1, 2, 3. There needs to be a second line there. It's a 5-member board. There needs to be an additional line, Deanna, if we could add that.
What are you looking at?
Am I looking
Assessment Review
at,
Board.
oh, am I looking at the old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Assessment Review
The
Board.
one I
The
gave
new
you
copy
guys,
has the.
Piece of
yeah.
paper is
Sorry.
the most recent.
This one here,
Yeah.
that extra one, okay.
And
you.
the addendum is
Sorry.
also on up here, that's the correct one. The addendum
Okay.
that was added.
Oh, right on the screen.
It's-
Okay, so I could pull that
You
up
can
on the
open
screen.
that up.
And those vacancies for the Ag and Open Space Committee were already 2027 on that, so
Yes.
Oh, you've already.
That's why I
adjusted.
was,
I'm
Okay.
confused.
I think
Very
we have to
confused.
do that though, in the board action.
I don't know,
Right.
I don't know, that was discussed with the attorney, so.
Okay. Assessment Review Board, okay, so we've made Pete the chair. And then, don't forget, we'll have to, when we do the reappointments, we'll have to, I will check in with Pete and ask him to check in with Jane.
Jane wants to be reappointed
Yeah, great,
since October.
Perfect.
I need
Perfect.
that done.
perfect.
If you guys could do that for me, so I can get to the county.
Yeah. Okay, 8 and 9, well that term,
It should be 30.
2030.
you have 2 vacancies there, 28 and 29, Robert, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Yeah, 28 and 29. Or we
Jane
could
Basinski would
reappoint
be
But
her
Jane
to
just
30.
2030. She would be 2030.
We updated 25 to 20.
Well, we can appoint her to any one of those,
We could.
any one of those terms. You don't have to appoint to an additional 5-year term. Maybe somebody should ask her which term she wants to be appointed to. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping she's gonna stay on.
She,
So. Yeah, I think, I just want to stick to our process, which is the chair comes back and says, yes, I recommend, da-da-da-da. Otherwise, we're going to deviate from that, and then, so I'll check in with Pete, who I'm sure will very much want.
So we just
to be
we're contacting the chairs currently, that's it.
Right, so,
You
no, what
said
we
the
want,
chair-
yeah, the chair can do the legwork,
Okay.
Kenny. What we
Okay.
want to know is where vacancies, if there are any additional vacancies that we're not aware of. If any of these individuals do not want to be reappointed,
Okay,
that's really what we're trying to get at. What I'm going to do is make a draft after this, a draft communications
yeah.
solicitation to the community saying, you know, have you ever thought of joining volunteers, or really the engine of this community? Here's where we have openings on the various committees, and you know, just the protocol for how to submit letters of interest and so on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and prepare that, and it's just when we start getting those in, we need to have that information finalized. We don't need it right now. We just need to know which committees have an opening at the very least, and then we'll put the individuals in touch with the chairs. All right. Coming back to, and we'll find out from Pete and Jane which term she's interested in. So, Deanna, thanks for your patience and your continued patience on this one. We'll get there in time for training.
let the
I
county know then, because they keep asking me.
I know. We need to get more than Jane. We need to get more members. There's 5 members now. Climate Smart Communities Task Force. This is a task force. There's no liaison for this.
It's not. Taken. I don't know if we set that on
I'm looking to who has
I mean, they
least
talk-
amount of
yeah.
liaison.
I think I have the lease, I'm happy to do it if it's vacant.
It also does come up at CAC meetings because it's pretty
Sure.
overlapping. So
Yeah.
either way, if you want to do it, that's fine. Or I can just check in with Jonathan and the committee
Is
at
this
those meetings.
mostly
We have some
CAC?
discussion about it, but there's work happening in between
in between?
CAC.
Okay.
So it's
I mean,
whatever
if
you want
it
to do. It's fine.
dovetails, it's fine, I'm just happy to do it, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not trying to,
Yeah, either way is fine.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't hurt to have. sort of-
Okay.
okay, then I'll,
So let's
I'll do
Christina, thank you for
I'll be the
offering.
liaison for that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will reach out to
Um,
them by
may we-
next time,
May we
Well, I think
appoint?
it's just the reappointing Jonathan as the coordinator
Yeah.
for the chair.
because they don't have any vacancies.
Yes.
So
And
I'd
they
like
expire at the
to,
end of this year.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Jonathan Brady as the chair of the task force and Christina Ducharme as the liaison to the Climate Smart Communities Task Force.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Community Preservation Fund, PDR Advisory Committee, same thing there, Kenny, if we can do reach out to
Yeah.
Mary Ann, and if she'll do the legwork, great, otherwise if you would
Okay.
maybe reach out to some of those people. I would like to make a motion that we reappoint Mary Ann Jelson, the chair of that as well. This committee meets only occasionally when there's a project for consideration or if the plan needs updating. So for term ending in 2026, I'd make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And then we'll have to update when we know these people want to join. This is one of those committees, by the way, that by statute needs to have a certain composition. So let's just keep that in mind when we go to appoint people.
And Robert, could I
yes,
just
ma'am.
note, are you intending to reappoint Mary Ann, because her appointment expired 2025?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Not just
I'm
as chair, but as a member?
Mm-hmm.
If you're reappointing her as chair, do you want to do both at the same time?
Yes, Kenny wants to
Yeah, I'll
reappoint her.
contact her.
You'll contact her, but we need to reappoint her.
Yes,
Yes, so let's make that motion now to
We'll make a
reappoint her as a
motion
member
to re-import.
I'll second.
For 2028?
for 2028, period, as a member, yes. Because she can't be the chair, she's not a member. All in favor? Thank you very much. Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, again, could we have a motion? Who's our?
I'm the liaison. So here, I want to note that Doug Sturwinski has resigned from the committee.
Okay.
So that'll be a vacancy there in addition to the one that already exists. I would like to make a motion to reappoint Julia Solomon as the chair of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee for a term ending in 2026.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jacob, would you be kind enough to reach out to Doug, who we do see here in Town Hall from time to time? Just ask him to send
Something
it
in writing?
Yes.
Okay, I can
So
see
we
if
can
Julia might have
recognize
something
that.
like that. She might have an email about that, but
Okay.
I can check.
Terrific. CAC, same thing, to keep our chair. Lori Eusted as a member would need to be extended as well to 2027. And Jacob, you were also the liaison to that, would you like to?
Yeah,
make
so
a
I was
motion?
going to say, we have another vacancy here as well.
Okay.
Leah Papika
Okay.
has resigned. I
Okay.
can forward the email
Okay.
announcing that. She sent it to the committee, but I can forward that.
That's a vacancy?
Yes, so
Okay.
there'll be a vacancy on that committee.
Okay,
And then I would make a motion to reappoint Lori Husted
okay.
for a term ending in 2027, and then as the chair for a term ending in 2026.
Well done. I will second your motion. Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
You just have something to say.
Good. Design Review Hamlet Committee,
I don't have an update from them.
okay.
Hope to by next time.
Shall we reappoint Chris Gilbert as chair? So we have a chair, or do you
Yes.
want to wait on that? You want to go ahead and do it?
Let's go ahead and make
Okay.
that motion.
His term
Twice.
is fine, okay, so we don't have to worry about that. 5-year staggered appointment, 2030 would be his. Term expires. Christina, would you like to make that motion?
I'd love to make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Hamel. Further discussion, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We have to We have to get Disaster Preparedness Committee up and running. Kenny, let's talk about that. Somebody expressed interest to me recently. I have to look back at my notes on that.
And they're in your code, I will
Yes.
just note that there is a specific list of folks that are meant to be part of that
Yes.
committee.
Exactly.
Okay, so-
This is another one. Yes, I did reference that earlier, but thank you for reminding me. Both this, I think I spoke about the CPF and the Design Review Hamlet Committee also have requirements as to their composition.
So I think it would be good to have that listed here, if they're for the specific composition for this one. We know there are vacancies, but it would be good to know which,
Which
experiences.
ones are full and which ones are vacant.
Yeah, but I
Exactly.
think also which roles.
That's what I meant, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
okay, great.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
roles are vacant, which ones are full.
Yeah.
Energy Committee, same thing there, we just need to reappoint Dennis as the chair, which I would like to do tonight. Term ending 2026, would somebody like to second that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so we have 2 vacancies there, all right, 3 vacancies there. We have some interest in that committee, which is good. Ethics Board, we did that last time, we're good there. That one has modification for Barnes Greenway and Trails. We have one of the these folks needs to step up, right? Because our chair
Yeah, and,
is not re-upping on this
yeah,
one.
I don't know that that's been identified yet, so
Okay.
I'll circle back with the committee
You'll
and
come
see
back to us on that?
who,
Okay.
who's interested, yeah.
Housing, chair not necessary per committee.
I don't know where that came from,
I don't know where that came from, but, you know, we need a chair. It's the only way we can communicate is to know who we're communicating with. And I do understand that David Sokol has
Yes.
offered.
Yeah,
Is that
so he's been attending meetings for the past 2 years, and
Okay.
I've been trying to recruit him to be officially a member, and he's willing to do that. Those on the committee who've been attending alongside, you know, him attending have expressed interest in him stepping up to be the chair.
Okay.
So I would make a motion to appoint David Sokol to
A term,
a term.
first of all.
Yeah, and I would make that a term ending in 2027.
Okay.
And then appoint him as the chair for a term ending in 2026.
Okay.
And I think we can remove Patricia Stewart from the list. She hasn't been attending in
Okay.
quite some time, so,
Okay.
you know, that would be the other change. So there are some vacancies here. I have a few other people who
I
have submitted materials as well.
I saw that there were some folks who were interested. That's great news.
Yeah. There'll be vacancies either way, but we have
Right.
a few people. It's not as many vacancies as it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you made a motion on David Sokol, term 2027, chair 2026.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much, Christina. Further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. LWRP,
So Paula does not want to retain the chairship
the chairship.
or stay on the committee.
Oh, really? Okay, she's retiring from that.
And Brent is also retiring from the committee.
Okay. So that's,
Paul-
can you have them send us something? So
Yes.
we really need to have just a communique on that.
And Paul and Christine have said that they would continue on.
Okay, good,
One thing I would point out about this particular committee
yeah.
is that when the plan was written and submitted to the state, theoretically their work was done.
Yeah.
And they didn't even need to be retained, but the state came back with some things that they want to deal with.
Some more maps, yeah, and stuff, yeah.
And so, you know, it does beg the question, do we still need to have the committee?
Right,
You know, if the changes that are being requested are really sort of ministerial in nature, then, you know, it would be my recommendation, you know, that until we need to have a new WLO, you know, do another one, you know, we don't need them. But if we think we need them, then, you know, and Amy Liston originally said yes, then she said no, and now, according to Paul, it's on the fence. So,
okay.
but I haven't really pushed on this too hard because I was waiting to find out what we were going to do with the state's comments.
State comments, which we should address, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's come back to that.
Yep.
We have another task force. You know, Bill Allen gave us a list of names. Again, this is another one, but this doesn't quite have the same overlap, does it, Jake, because the CAC?
No, it has a lot of overlap with the some overlap with the CAC. There's a few people who've attended those meetings and are appointed to the committee, a few people who've attended meetings that are not on the committee. We have a list of 10 people that Bill had shared before. I thought we'd done the work on appointing that, but I don't know.
I thought so too. And Deanna's shaking her head no.
We
So
have
I
it.
thought we did at a meeting many moons ago, but,
I know there's a notice of appointment to Bill, but maybe,
as the, we
Yes.
needed him as the chair because
Yeah.
that was a requirement, right, to
Yeah.
identify? Or that was Climate Smart where I think. Well, can you come back to us at our next meeting with that list and we can appoint everybody?
yeah, I
They're
have a
acting
list in
in
the
that.
email, but we can,
What's
I
that?
have a list from his email, so we could go over those names now if we'd like, or just do
These
that
are
the
the-
next
these-
time. The people we thought we'd done it for last summer.
I mean, I'm okay with that if we thought we did it before. These are the people who are already working on this NRI. I think we should, right? I mean, many of them were there, by the way, Sunday at they were tabling, right, the NRA. NRI, actually, Laura from DEC mentioned that we had received this grant and we're doing NRI through Estuary. What are those names, Jacob? And are we doing staggered with this? We don't know.
I don't think that we did.
Because this
Because
is
it's
a
like
finite.
Yeah, it'll be done.
This is a finite.
And it says
Will it
two-
be
it says
done by
2
the
years.
end of this year though?
I have no idea. I don't have an update on it. I guess Bill was sort of slow rolling that as like it'll be done like in a 1-year term, but I thought it was supposed to be 18 months, which would be about the end of this year.
Okay. Alright.
No, yeah, but you haven't got the signed contract back yet, so they really haven't
Yeah.
pulled the trigger on the contract yet. So,
So it'll take more time.
Did we or did it? Yeah.
no, you just signed it, but we don't
Right.
have it back from DEC.
From them, countersign, yeah. So, okay.
So I could read through that list. If we
Well,
wanted
let's
to
just do
include
it
them, or
through
we can just do it.
2026 now. Let's read through the list. Let's get it, because they're working, they're operating, because they thought we appointed them, and we thought we appointed them to this task force. It's not an ongoing committee.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us those names?
Yeah, so I'll read the list and then I can forward you the list, Deanna, so you can just have spellings and things like
Okay,
that.
thanks.
So it's Bill Allen, Jen Kavanaugh,
Okay,
Alex Wolf,
okay,
Emily Major,
okay.
Elizabeth Brower, Amy Shine, Sam Rose, Sam Phelan, Steve Akindipe, and Zoe Evans.
Emily Major is, oh, because she's the Tivoli rep or something?
Yeah, it's a historian and major. And then, there were Julia and Lori listed as advisors, Lori Houston and Julia Solomon, but I
Okay,
don't know what sort of role they played to
okay,
this point.
okay.
But the list of 10.
Did you want to make a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to
Appoint,
them to a term ending in 2026, we said?
yeah,
Okay.
and then we can extend that if necessary. I think
Yeah.
Chris is right. I mean, we're looking at, even if it's an 18-month project, although they have been working on it. Okay, I'll second that. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Planning board, so,
Sam has agreed to re-up for 1 year. as the
Sam has
chair.
agreed to re-up for 1 more year.
As the chair.
He keeps saying he'll do it for 1 more year, and he's been
Although
saying that
he-
for how many years?
Yeah, but he made it clear that he
Well,
would like to,
thank our lucky
at some
star.
point.
At some point retire.
And I will touch base with him. The alternate vacancy for the alternate was also Brent Kowalczyk. He had resigned from that.
From
And
that.
then, of course,
I
there's
think,
Christina's vacancy.
all right, Brent will retire before Sam will retire. I never would have thought that.
So
Okay, so are you making a motion to reappoint Sam as the chair
I
for
am
now?
making that motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Christine.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, he's also down for 2031.
Well, he said he'd stay on the planning
He
board.
just wants to step down as chair.
Yeah,
Okay,
he'd like to have a replacement, let's put it that way.
okay.
But he'll stay on the planning board.
Well,
Okay.
So we all voted for that?
We haven't voted
No.
yet.
No, we got a second from
From Christina,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right. So, Recreation Commission, they have vacancies, and I would very much like to make a motion to reappoint Doug Strowinski as the chair with the term ending in 2026. Would anybody like to second that?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you. Red Church Cemetery, a chair is vacant. We gotta figure out that. Do we really need a committee for that? They meet so infrequently. But I think it would be good to, I'll touch base with some of those folks. Jackie, who was so instrumental when I was at the Cemetery Association. Harry, I don't know if Harry would wanna stay on. Deanna has to be on because she does so many administrative stuff in our town, her story, as I like to say. So I'll touch base with them and we'll see where that goes, but, somebody should be the chair of that. Maybe John will chair that. Okay, tree preservation, this also, town code 128.2, so there are some requirements with that, Jacob. Our chair would need to be reappointed as chair, but she's good on term.
Yes, so I would make a motion to reappoint Kathy Michael to the chair, term ending in 2026, Tree Preservation Commission.
She and Huff were also there on Sunday, the nature of nature. I'll second that. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very
Aye.
much. Water District.
We took care of that.
We took care of that already, we're all done with that, yeah. ZBA, all right, so we had a mistake, either it was a typo or we reappointed, we didn't add correctly or something way back when, in 2024, a reappointment for George John was supposedly made to 2030. Did we go to the videotape on that one? When it's a 5-year term. So I don't know if it's legacy left over from when there were 7 ZBA members or not, but needless to say, we need to make a correction on that. And Kate, we're thinking Kate's not gonna chair, right?
Yeah,
She's not gonna re-up on that?
no, she'll stay for the remainder of this year for her
Okay.
term on the board, but she does not want to continue as the chair.
She wants to travel. Okay, so that's still open. Bill, you wanna come back to us and let's see what we can do about it?
Yeah.
We need to have a chair for that.
Yeah.
She's still, holdover, she still is the chair,
And
but
she
she doesn't
agreed-
wanna be real.
Yeah,
She'll
that's
do it until such time, all right. On George John, can we make a motion, please, Bill, would you, to correct that term?
I'll make that motion to correct George John's term ending 2029.
Okay. We accidentally had a duplication of a 2030 term. And Chris and Deanna looked into that. Okay, I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the vacancy alternate should also have a term of 2027. If it's a 2-year term, we'll see if we can get an alternate for the ZBA as well. That should just be a correction made on the sheet. Very good. So folks, as I mentioned, what I will do, prepare for you to take a look at, is I'll do a little solicitation to the public for volunteers. I will list all the committees and boards that we know have vacancies. I won't reference that many because we're still finalizing that number and explain to them how to submit letters of interest, aka emails, and the process, how we'll connect them with the chairs. Okay? Very good. We are nearing the end. The last item of correspondence, as I mentioned earlier to you in a previous meeting, the Champlain Express, CHPE. Has been at least constructed through our portion of the river and is now showing up, and I don't know if it's partial. It wasn't labeled. I did speak to the people up at Real Property, Albany, on the correction, but they did confirm with me that's what 189-250 references. And this is the power line that's underneath the river, our portion of the river. The tentative full value on the assessment roll is $12.5 million. What I'm trying to get is information of what we should expect if this is not the full valuation, what it might be for next year or finally after it's fully constructed out, so that we can have that information and also gather more information from the representative who wants to ask us to consider a pilot. Until we have, that information, I don't think we can really make any kind of decisions on this. But I did want to bring it to your attention that there'll be another $12 million on our roll for next year. A roll which, by the way, is a hair under $2 billion. And I think when I first started, it was at $1 billion. So it's nice to see that increase. That's all I have, folks, for tonight. And I want to thank you all for coming this evening.
I'd like to bring up one thing.
Sure.
The first meeting in January, we discussed changing the meeting date.
Okay.
I don't know if you discussed that again at the last meeting.
I'm not sure if we
did
discussed
not.
it again.
No.
We identified that it was problematic, Kenny. You're talking about the first meeting of the
Yeah, it'd
month?
be nice to make it on a Wednesday, so second Wednesday, fourth Wednesday. Because I just got off a meeting that was
Yeah.
continuing.
Yeah.
Well, the second Wednesday's the ZBA.
We have two other committees and boards that meet on the second Wednesday, and I'm reluctant to ask them to change their schedule for
I
what is
don't mind
already free.
asking them.
I know you do. I know that's, for,
How often does the ZBA meet?
actually not that often.
But they
Well, every second Wednesday unless they cancel.
And
So
they
the
have-
problem is they have
Yeah,
the
it's
requirement by laws, they have to.
And I think they haven't had a meeting since October?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, I don't mind
It's
asking.
been slow.
What's the second committee? You said there was
The
two.
Conservation Advisory
Conservation Advisory Committee.
usually meets in the
there's a-
conference room,
Yeah.
but they're meeting here, at a similar time.
Okay. And then, that would help me, I know it's only me, but this committee I'm on, it's an important committee, and there's 28 other people on this committee. To try to change that committee, I wouldn't even broach that subject.
That's the second Tuesday of every month?
It's the second Tuesday, and it starts at 6, so I was on it till I walked in
Oh,
here.
that's what you
Yeah, but it's a 6 to 9
Oh,
meeting. So,
I
and
know.
then what
I mean,
what about having earlier times?
So earlier on Tuesdays is harder for me. I have,
We all have
Well,
other
Well, we're gonna
conflicts.
switch to Wednesday, so that'll work out, right?
I tend to CAC meetings on Wednesdays, but.
I would support earlier, and I would support having one singular day. I think it's easier for the public to follow.
Yeah. Again, not defending it, but I think it was brought up as 2 separate days of the week, so that there would be at least one opportunity for the public to come that is booked for that day of the week, like whether it's your Tuesday, and I know you have standing Tuesdays and Thursdays, obligations. I have other obligations of different boards I sit on that, would conflict. But let's take a look at that. At the very least, what we can do is, and maybe, if you all would send me any other conflicts that you have, normal conflicts in your schedule, what we can at least do is when we can reschedule something or we're not having a typical day, we can at least keep that in mind, that don't reschedule something for your, for a Tuesday or, a Tuesday or Thursday. That's a weekly thing for you.
Well-
Yours is just a once a month.
Yeah, well, as far as the early time, if we're not gonna switch to Wednesday, I'd rather keep the time at.
Well, he can't do it.
I can't do it. I
He
can't
can't
be
get
here
here
Oh,
until
okay.
7:30, so there's that.
So the only conflict really is the ZBA. Is anybody here?
For
has
the
a
second
conflict?
Wednesday.
And the CAC.
You have a conflict with the second?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I sometimes
they-
have a conflict with the second
Oh,
one.
okay. Well, he's co-chair.
Kenny, we're just gonna give it all to you, and you just, second Wednesday. Okay,
Anyway.
well, we'll see what we can do to
Okay.
try to accommodate, when we can
I
accommodate.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to close the town board meeting. Is there a second? I want to wish you all well. We got through it all.
Second.
We were not used to cold winters anymore, and as somebody who's out there with the livestock twice a day, I am ready for spring. And I wish you all a more affordable winter and a safer winter and a healthier winter. We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Just the pictures.